Donna Creef and Willo Kelly here with the latest edition of the Real Breakdown. So summertime is upon us with the passing of the Memorial Day holiday. I hope everyone had a great weekend. There's stuff that happened this morning that I need to report on. One of the houses that had been in a precarious situation down in Rodanthe finally collapsed this morning. So it made it through the weekend, but they were expecting it to collapse, so that's not news that they were expecting it to collapse, except it's news that it's collapsed now. I had a text message from Superintendent Dave Halleck this morning, and so I anticipate that they will be closing part of the beach there in Rodanthe so that they can manage the cleanup. They were working on that pretty aggressively this morning, and so hopefully they'll get that cleaned up and get the beaches reopened back down there. The beaches down in Buxton, we've talked about that before, where we have had the contamination down there.
Petroleum contamination.
That's right, and since our last video, there has been some movement on that. The Army Corps of Engineers has been down there and has hired a contractor, and they are working to clean that up. That's going to be.
Which we didn't think was going to start until September.
Yeah, but they pushed it up. Yeah, the Corps guy came down, and I guess he realized the gravity of the situation, and he moved that date up. So they're working on that. So that's the good news and the bad news for the beaches down in Hatteras.
We just had a meeting there before the last Real Breakdown went out. We had that meeting with Halleck.
Right, with Halleck, yeah.
And the Park Service down there. And so we got an update on that. And we looked at those threatened structures.
Yeah, well, the threatened structures are, there were 3 in a line there, and the first one gave in. Didn't have any bad weather this weekend to speak of in terms of tide, but they were just in such a precarious situation.
Mm-hmm.
So
we had that bad storm come up last night.
Yeah, unfortunately, so that house has collapsed and that property owner is left to deal with the remnants of that. The other thing I want to talk about regarding the beach is the Love the Beach, Respect the Ocean campaign that Dare County undertakes with the towns about the publicity to our visitors about the hazards of the ocean and the beachfront. Dare County has some clings that they've got. They've got these groovy little graphics that they're using on clings, and they're ordering them.
Clings.
Yeah. It's like
Currituck County knows what they are because you have to put them in your windshield if you're going to dump your trash.
Right. So it's a cling that has the graphic for the Love the Beach, Respect the Ocean. It has a QR code for folks to use to scan on their phones and get that so that they can use that while they're here to get updates on the hazards and the ocean situations while they're here. They are going to be ordering some of those and dropping them off here at OBAR offices. If you want to make arrangements to have those delivered to your real estate agency, we can certainly take care of that. Just send me an email, give me a call, and I'll let Drew and those guys know at Dare County Emergency Management that you want some of those clings, and we'll make sure that you can get some of those to share with your clients and your property owners. They also have some graphics that they can share with you if you want to put those on your web pages.
Great campaign. We want everybody to be safe.
Yeah, we want everybody to be safe while they're here on vacation. The other really good news is regarding the septic regulations that went in effect in January. You'll remember that we talked about those and how they were pretty egregious. The North Carolina General Assembly has a bill that's making its way through the General Assembly now. Those revisions would allow for repairs to happen in place. That was the big thing that was so egregious for us, is that they were not going to allow septic systems to be repaired in place, and so that rule changes that. So if you have a septic system that was permitted before January 1 of 2024, you will be allowed to make your repair in place. And it also gives the local health department staff the ability to use their best professional judgment. That was something that they had taken away in those septic regulations. So that bill is making its way through the General Assembly. Reports are from Katie Thomas, the NCR lobbyist, is that she expects those to get adopted before the end of the short session. So that's really good news. We'll continue to keep everyone informed about the progress of those septic regulations.
That's great news, because when reporting on this at our general membership meeting, I wasn't sure if it was January or March. I think maybe the March meeting.
It was in,
in March, and we got a lot of feedback about that, and had heard 5-bedroom house, septic system was going to cost $60,000.
Yeah, to use the engineered systems.
Yeah, the engineered system. So this is great news.
It is good news, and I think it just illustrates how important it is for folks to participate in RPAC, because we reached out to NCR lobbyist Katie Thomas, and she got right to work on it, and so that's good work there on that. Locally, all the local governments, Currituck County and all the 6 towns are working on their budgets. They all have budget hearings at their meetings this month. The town of Duck is proposing a 3-cent tax increase. The other local governments in Dare County are not proposing any tax increases. The big increase is coming up in Currituck County, where they are proposing a 3-cent increase in the fire rates for Corolla and Knox Island, and then a countywide 6-cent increase in the ad valorem property taxes. So the 6 cents and the 3 cents up in Corolla are to account for the occupancy taxes, where they had the recent court ruling that said they couldn't appropriate the occupancy tax revenues that way. And then the other thing that the county manager up there recommended is that they have a referendum in November to adopt and to enact a 1/4-cent sales tax that will make up for that occupancy tax revenue shortfall in their general fund. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out in November, assuming that they accept her recommendation. They do have a public hearing scheduled on that for their June 17th
So they could
meeting.
not use occupancy tax for any of the public safety.
That's the way I understand
Sheriff's
the ruling.
Department.
Yeah, and so they were taking occupancy tax revenue, moving it into the general fund, and paying for that. And so they've been told they can't do that anymore.
Population balloons up to, how many in the summertime
Yeah,
versus the off-season, and it's strictly, tourism related.
Kind of counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but I've heard the chairman of the Currituck board say that was like a $6.2 million shortfall that they had to account for. So they're trying to address that. We had a good trip to D.C. earlier this month. We went for the NAR's legislative days. Next week we're going to Raleigh for the North Carolina legislative days. We have been busy with these legislative days. We had a good trip to D.C. We saw Senator Senator Budd.
We can see
And
Senator Byrd just a
he's
couple
right
miles
across
away.
the street, yeah. Senator Tillis, and then we saw Congressman Murphy, just briefly. So they briefed the North Carolina delegation, and then the general sessions were pretty good. We heard from the chief economist for NAR. He's always a good speaker to hear from. They talked about the continued lack of housing inventory countrywide and how that's going to play out in the next couple of months. The big focus was on the election that we've got coming up in 2024. As if you're not aware that there is an election in 2024, that was the focus of our sessions in
Where
D.C.
are you if you don't know there's an election?
Yeah, so next week we'll be in Raleigh talking to our North Carolina legislators, and again we'll be talking about houses, accessory dwelling units, and the big push is to address squatters that are going into unoccupied housing, and some of the sheriff's offices in other counties are treating it as a landlord-tenant situation and not trespassing, which is really kind of weird. So anyway, that's all I have. Willow, I know you've probably got some stuff. What do you got?
We've been very busy with the travel, going to D.C., all of that. We've got our big golf tournament this Friday.
That's right. Hopefully
Not
the weather
legislative
will be good.
related, but Surf, Turf, and Roll continues this Friday at Kilmarlock. We have 30 teams, so hopefully we'll raise a lot of good money for our scholarship fund and our disaster relief fund held with the Outer Banks Community Foundation. And it's... We've got some lunch and learns coming up. We want everybody to go to www.outerbanksrealtors.com, click on that calendar, or go to your info hub, which you should have an account with us that you can log in right from the homepage, and you'll see upcoming events and things you might want to participate in. We have a measuring square footage lunch and learn coming up on, I think that's June 6th. Actually, this Thursday we have one on Excel 101 and more. Did you know that through Paragon we have all kinds of reports that date back a couple decades, and if you want to create some marketing reports in Excel, they're all on there in Excel. And so Maslin Seal is going to tell us about how we can take those reports and create some other dynamic reports on real estate. I think that's about it. We are on Twitter, Instagram. We are on. We have our own YouTube channel. Facebook, we have a closed group. If you're a member, you can have access to that closed Facebook group by applying, and also just Outer Banks Association Realtors or OBAR Realtor members. So we hope you check us out and continue to stay involved and engaged, because if real estate is your profession, politics is your business.
That's right. Thanks, guys.
That's right.